Well, it should be going.
Thanks for the countdown.
That's not live, so I can clip it out. So just
Okay.
start whenever
Okay.
you want.
All right. Welcome to the Broken Tackle, the show where three football-loving men talk about the football world and try not to yell at each other. I'm Jesse. I'm a Seahawks fan, and we got Braden. He's an Eagles fan, and Caleb, who is a Packers fan, diehard, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Basically, this new podcast is it's just us talking about football, ranging from high school all the way up to the NFL, of course. Maybe even some Canadian football in there, depending on what we
I
see
mean,
in
I don't
the
really know much about
XFL. And
that, but
but I mean, just like maybe if a player comes over there from the NFL. Um,
yeah.
some of the things we're going to be talking about today and in the future. Um, we're going to coming out with mock drafts. We're going to do a live mock draft, or sorry, a live draft the night of the draft. So if you guys wanted to come in, tune into that. We're gonna have podcasts every single week. At least try to do one. The schedule right now seems a little bit iffy. We're waiting on a couple things. We're just obviously trying this out for the first time. YouTube videos, we might be doing one or two of those a week, as well as we're on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. If you guys wanted to go check out any of those videos that we're about to start posting there. One of the things I'm going to be doing at the, I guess, the start of the next football season is I'm going to find a one-star player in high school, anywhere. It can be anywhere. And if you guys are watching, I want you to leave like a recommendation for me because I'm going to follow their entire season. They have to be a senior. I'm going to follow their entire season and talk about their stats and how their team is doing and whatnot. So, Caleb, Braden, um, you want to just get us started with the season recap of what we just watched, starting from the beginning, if you want to go through and the Eagles and Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
I mean, I can get it going.
Yeah, you can get her going. I mean, like, are you talking about week one from, all the way till
Yeah,
Super
like what
Bowl
were
kind
all of
of?
our thoughts at the beginning of the year? Like,
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna date this one back to to the draft. The Vikings took JJ McCarthy in the first round. Kind of a surprise pick back then. He played great throughout the preseason. Ended up having to have surgery prior to week one. Sam Darnold ended up taking his shoes. Vikings started out hot. So did the Chiefs and a lot. Some of the other teams as well. Otherwise, it was a very weird season, I guess you could say for the most part. I mean, Eagles got
and
Saquon. I mean,
yeah,
nobody would have expected that. I mean, come on now. I mean, shoot, the Broncos started out nice with rookie QB Bo Nix, and if we're gonna stay on the rookie QB part, Jane Daniels. I mean, that guy he's young, good. I
he had a
mean,
great season.
Quinn is making him look like RG3 out there.
Well, let's hope
This
his career
past
doesn't
year.
end up like RG3, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Probably would be for the better. Yeah.
Yep. Other than that, I mean, there's a lot of new faces on new teams, like Josh Jacobs signing with the Packers, and we have in our first Brazil game in Week 1, Eagles versus Packers.
That was on
Good
a Friday
game.
night too. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
There's a lot of
So
flashes of very good weaponized offenses in that game. Couldn't really stop each other for anything.
Caleb, being obviously being in love with Green Bay and what the Packers organization is doing, how did you feel about the Josh Jacobs signing and like what was your hope for that season last year?
Well, at first it was just like I thought they were going to keep Aaron Jones um on the team with Jacobs. That was kind of what a lot of the fans thought. A lot of people on Twitter, we were all excited about the idea of having Aaron Jones, kind of the quick guy, and then Josh Jacobs, the bruiser,
Yeah.
in the same backfield. Obviously that didn't happen. You ended up going to the Vikings, unfortunately. But
Some more
anyway, I
news
thought
on
I thought the offense was just gonna. Oh, what?
I was gonna say another big signing via running back is Derrick Henry signing with the Ravens.
That was
I,
big.
for, I
Yeah,
forgot that was last year.
it was.
Not gonna
Like
lie. It
that's
feels like it
a
was long ago.
that was a big signing. I mean, imagine being a defensive end and having to choose between Lamar Jackson and him being so shifty, and then Derrick Henry on a read option. Like, who do you choose on that? I mean, I won't ever know. But I mean, anybody ever knows Miles Garrett? I mean, just ask him or even T.J. Watt. I mean, they have to defend that, twice a year. Like, I couldn't imagine defending that. I mean, that's like the same thing with like Jalen Hurts and Saquon. Like, how do you defend those two running the ball?
It,
It's just
it's
hard.
obviously it's a dual threat regardless because you never know if it's going to be a pass handoff or quarterback keeper. Like which that with I guess the offensive linemen and the lack of injuries that the Eagles you guys really had probably what really fueled your Super Bowl run.
Oh yeah, and going out 14 and finished in the season 14-3 after starting 2-2. Um, just as an Eagles fan, it was a little bit of a panic attack within the first 5 weeks. Almost losing to the Saints. If it wasn't for Saquon breaking
They
one
were red
off in the
hot at
fourth
the time. They
quarter.
were red hot. They
Oh yeah, the
like
Saints. I mean, Saints were
scored
undefeated.
like 85 points in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was
Oh
kind of
yeah,
That
wild.
was insane.
they put up 45 on the Cowboys. I believe. I believe it was 45. But I mean,
Lions also smoked the Cowboys. I mean, the
yeah,
Cowboys they were the Cowboys.
And that
Like, let's
was the
be
game
honest.
that Hutchinson broke his leg against Cowboys.
yep,
Was that game? Okay.
yep. That was that game, and
How is
obviously
he
Hutchinson. He
recovering, by
would
the
have.
way?
I believe he's recovering pretty well. Seeing him towards the end of the season, with no crutches, no boot at the time. I'm assuming he's probably practicing and getting ready for and to see what the Lions do the rest of free agency and what they happen to take in the draft. So you can come out here and possibly get a defensive player of the year because he would have definitely won that if he wouldn't have gotten hurt. Usually in the league in sacks, he had 6 in 3 weeks. Like,
He probably would. Yeah, he would have got Defensive Player of the Year for sure. Um, Speaking of the Lions, though, yeah, they haven't really done anything so far in free agency. I think just
Well,
a
they
few
they
guys on.
did sign DJ Reed from the Jets on a 3-year deal, replacing
that's
Carlton
a pretty big
Davis.
one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Carlton Davis ends up. Where did he go again? He went to
Carlton Davis went to the Patriots on
Yep.
a 2 to 3 year deal, worth
Patriots
up
are
to
going
big
absolutely
money.
insane in free agency.
They're dipping
Yeah,
deep.
they took Milton Williams from Philly. Actually, in between him and Josh Sweat, they honestly kind of won us that Super Bowl. To be honest, I mean, Josh Sweat, he's now on the Cardinals, signed a major deal, 4 years, $76.5 million deal.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, he had 2 sacks. I mean, a lot of pressures and a couple TFLs. I mean, Milton Williams kind of sealed game with a forced fumble and a fumble recovery on Patty Mahomes in that Super Bowl that Eagles honestly beat them badly and kind of showed the rest of the league what to do against Patty
yeah. I
Mahomes. I
mean, those
mean,
22 or the whatever 20 something points that they had, it was garbage time. Really, like it,
I mean,
the score
we were
wasn't
up.
exactly what it reflected.
Yeah, we were up. I mean, what 32-0, almost coming at a half. I mean, I got to give gratitude to the man Cooper DeJean as well out of Iowa, rookie. Happened to score a
Cool.
pick, had his first career pick. Just happened to be a pick six on his birthday too, in the
Of
biggest
course it
game of his
was.
life,
On
arguably.
Patty
Like,
Mahomes, like
yeah,
Yeah.
arguably the best quarterback in the league. I mean,
it wasn't a fair catch, by the way.
there is a. I mean, we can go to the stats. This year we had every running back that signed to a new team, they had big breakouts this year. I mean, Saquon had 2,000 yards. Derrick Henry was, I think, 60 yards off him hitting 2,000. Josh Jacobs had a massive year in Green Bay as well. I don't know his stats off the top of my head like that. Caleb
He
would.
had I think it was 1,300 yards. I don't remember how many touchdowns he finished with, but
I
um,
think I
the
think
the
J.K.
whole
Dobbins.
discussion. You
What?
what?
I said
But
I was sorry. I was gonna say I think J.K. Dobbins had he had a pretty decent season with the Chargers, didn't he? Because that was his first year
yeah,
there.
yeah, he
Yeah.
had a pretty decent first half of the year. Ended up kind of slowing down in the second half. For the most part, I mean, between Jim Harbaugh and Herbert, And
Jonathan Taylor had a bounce back year, I think, because he didn't do too well last year.
no, he didn't do too bad, but he had an average running back year, I guess you could say. I mean,
Did he get
that
hurt
boy
this year?
Bijan, last
He
year
got
he
hurt
was.
last year because he finished with 1,400 yards, and Jameer Gibbs benefited off of David
Monty getting
Montgomery being
hurt.
hurt for a little bit because
hmm
he finished 5th on the list. So
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the
I wish he was a
other running
Packer.
back that was up there was Bijan Robinson having, I think it was 1,500 yards this year, all purpose, I believe. I mean
I
this
mean, you think
this year was a big year for running backs to kind of show what the market that they have out there.
I think it definitely came at a good time because I remember just last year everyone was kind of on the side of running backs are easily replaceable, and all of a sudden, after
that
last
is
year's free
true.
agency, all these running backs went to different teams and had crazy good years, and it just shows that situations, might be a little more important than
But you also take a
the
look at this
skill.
top 5. If you take a look at this top 5 list, it goes Saquon, Derrick Henry, Bijan, JT, and Jameer Gibbs. If all those teams, Philly, Baltimore, Atlanta, Colts, Detroit, look at who's on their offensive line. They've got
Um,
great cats all the way around, especially obviously Philly. Um, Detroit
Corto.
having Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow. I believe the Colts still have Quentin Nelson, right? So
Yep.
Yeah.
with a
And
good
they
O
had Ryan
line
Kelly
and a
too.
and a and a good running back, like you guys, like you can easily break 1,300 rushing yards in a season.
I mean, back to the Philly O line. I mean, throughout the season, Lane was a little touchy on his injury. Malata, he's kind of a little on and off. But with us losing Jason Kelsey, Cam Jurgens stepped way up this year and proved that he is an All-Pro center. I mean, look
He
at
did a
that.
great job
And
because Kelsey was
landed.
thinking about coming back, wasn't he?
He was telling the organization that he has a couple more games left in him, and that if they absolutely needed him, that he would suit back up. But
He just wanted another ring, honestly.
probably. But I know Landon
When you're at
Dickerson,
that age, though,
big
like
guy. Alabama drafted him in the second or third round, and then our new acquisition and Mekhi Becton made him look like a absolute stud out there. I mean, Saquon broke the
he's a free agent still, isn't he?
all-time season record for rushing this year. That's including postseason
Mm.
with almost 2,900 yards this year.
It was also I see. I don't like saying that he broke any records because there's more games than there was back then.
See,
I
I
mean, it's
mean, I
only
don't
one
have a
more
problem
game,
with the
but
games thing, but I think the attempts are what matters, and Saquon didn't have his. I don't know how many attempts between the two of them, like how equal it was. I don't think
For
Saquon had
Saquon,
as yeah. I don't think it was many as I don't know why I just forgot his last name for some
was
reason.
it Sanders?
No, it was I think it's
uh,
Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson, you're
Yeah,
thinking of back
Oh,
there in
I don't know why it was not
1990s
Barry.
yeah.
when he was under Rams. He's held that. Saquon Barkley finished the season first in carries with 345 yards, or 345 carries for 2,005 yards and 13 touchdowns. He was averaging 5.8 yards a carry.
It's a lot of carries. That's a lot of times touching the ball. I mean, you want to get your lead horse the rock, right? Like
For sure,
Oh
but I
yeah,
think I think Dickerson has had more carries, if I'm not mistaken. So I
that might be
mean,
possible. I just
that's
personally
what I
I
look
still
at.
don't like the whole extra game because like if you ended the season in week 17 like it used to be where you only played 16 games, Saquon was still like what, almost 100 yards off the record before
something
the
like
last
that.
game. So
Eric Dickerson, the year that he broke it was 1984. He played 16 games, had 379 carries for 2,105 yards. He was
so a 30
averaging
carry difference.
5.6 carries. Yeah,
So
so
30 carry
about 30
difference.
carries.
The 49ers are signing Demarcus Robinson, by the way. Just
Interesting.
announced 2-year deal.
Really, 2 years?
Yeah,
Where is he coming from? I forgot what
the
team he was on
Rams.
completely.
hmm
Okay, yeah. That's actually wow. Okay, so but the Rams, they
Oh,
Well, yeah, and they're not shopping Cooper Cup, but they're expected to release Cooper Cup. But they did
yes,
I
I.
hope Seattle takes him.
but they did just sign Devontae, and they still have Nakua, so
And they just re-signed Tutu Atwell as well on a
it's
$10
not going to
million
be an issue
deal.
for him, I don't think.
Nah, and then they have that rookie Jordan Haddington or Whittington. Last year, he's going to his sophomore year. Had a kind of
Mm,
not as big of the breakout year that Puka
Was
had his
that
rookie year,
the
but
was that the Cooper Cup clone,
yeah,
or who is that? Oh, it is. Okay.
that would that would have been a Cooper Cup clone. Ultimately, that's who took Jordan Whittington really stepped up when Puka and Cooper Cup were both out with injuries this past year. Um, stepped up
Like,
had a big role.
you want to talk about a guy? I mean, granted, it was his rookie year, but you're talking about a guy stepping up. Lad McConkey. Oh
who?
my God.
After
Lad
the
McConkey?
Chargers,
Oh, McConkey.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not an
I can't
expert
say his
here.
name. I can't say his last name like that either.
I
But
knew
I
he was
mean,
going to be
yeah,
good. I liked
I
him
mean,
coming out of Georgia.
Chargers. I mean, they
He kind
shopped
of just
out.
went under the radar.
Yeah,
I believe they had the
I
best
mean,
defense in the whole league last year.
the Chargers.
And turn in like of points allowed at least. Yeah, they were first in
Okay.
the NFL.
hmm
Well, they had to sit there and they had to choose between Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack now, like this year. So they ended up keeping Khalil Mack. They got him on a 1 year, $18 million deal.
Yep.
So he's there for at least one more year. Who knows what'll happen after that? Joey Bosa is gonna have to go somewhere, but they get
which
Tierre Tart. He's
mhm.
returning on a new deal. So and Dante Jackson and Elijah Molden, two corners, both on a 2 and 3 year deal respectively. Like
Yeah, and they have a choice to possibly re-sign Asante Samuel Jr. too, because he is a free agent currently at the moment. So I mean, really comes down to where is he going to sign at the end of the day.
realistically, yeah, because I mean, I guess the Chargers they got Najee Harris now, so they're
Yep.
more than likely
I
not
like
bringing
it.
back J.K. Dobbins. I like it too,
I believe
but
they already released J.K. Oh no, I think that was Gus Edwards actually.
Yeah,
So
they released
it was
Gus
yeah.
yeah,
last week.
So they might shop out J.K. Dobbins. Who knows? Um, the only teams that I could see like maybe making a trade for him would be like the Raiders, but because the Cowboys, who did they just signed somebody
They just signed Javonte Williams, formerly with the Broncos.
Broncos, yeah. So the Broncos maybe they take a running back, like maybe they want J.K.
I mean, you know, good friend. He's a big Broncos fan, and I've watched a lot of Broncos games this past year. I mean, I believe that Audric Estime and Chase McLaughlin will get the job done up there in Denver,
You
for the
think they'll
most
get the
part.
lead back
But
roles? I don't know. I think
see, but you also got to think of it, guys.
I
Nick
mean
Chubb is
I've been
still a
seeing a
free
lot of
agent.
he
that's
is.
true, but
Nick Chubb is still a free agent, guys.
I've been seeing a lot of Broncos fans on Twitter and their mock drafts, and a lot of them have Denver taking a running back, either Caleb Johnson or Amarian Hampton, because GT's not going to be there anymore at
Nope, and I
that
think Ollie Gordon
pick.
goes pretty high up as well.
I
So
think you
And
can. I think
Judkins.
you can find a viable running back in the second round because as of right now, like you want to build around Bo Nix, obviously, and having a good rushing attack, versatile with that passing attack is obviously a good sign. But you got to upgrade tight end. Like Colston Loveland, lower than likely will fall to them at 20.
Oh yeah, they they
If you're the
they really
Broncos
need a
front
tight
office,
end.
you got to go there. Like
I mean, that's
that's my
if
personal thought.
they don't sign Evan Ingram. They met with each other yesterday. I mean, I haven't heard anything back yet. I don't think anybody really has via to the meeting
Mm.
yesterday. So if they don't happen to pick up Evan Ingram, yeah, I would say 100%. Loveston, but I mean, yeah, Greg Dulcich. He can't do everything for that team, and I mean, they just don't have a good tight end anymore. They
I mean,
haven't for
honestly,
quite some
looking
time.
at what the Broncos have done so far here in free agency, if because didn't you say there was a rumor of Kittle being traded?
Yes,
Was
there I've
that
heard that
was
the
that real?
Niners. Uh, I haven't
I
gotten
don't,
anything yet back on Ian Rapport.
I
Um,
haven't seen anything really confirming that. and I think Kittle would know if they were shopping him. So the way he's been tweeting about being upset about like people, certain players
Oh,
leaving,
Kyle.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
you
don't think
said.
he's gonna be moving around anywhere.
Okay.
Which
Well,
is fair.
I'll just never mind that. But let's say even with Evan
Dallas
Ingram, let's
Goddard.
say or Dallas Goddard, is he
You
free
know,
agent or
he
is he
he was
looking to be
he was
traded?
given options to look for a trade. So I
Okay.
mean, you know, us being me being a Philly fan, like it'd be sad to see him go, but you know, Denver they need a tight end, and we have
So
Grant
I think
Alcantara behind him. So
I think if you're Denver, you take a look at you take a look at really what you want in the first round of the draft because you're picking at 20. You want to see who's gonna kind of fall down to you. You're looking at the mock draft, but you're also sitting
yeah,
there. You got Evan Ingram and you got Dallas Goddard in your back pocket for a trade if you wanted to. If you get Dallas Goddard or Evan Ingram and then take a running back round one, possibly Caleb Johnson, then I think honestly they're instantly a deep playoff run team. Like they could absolutely do it with Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, DJ Jones that they signed.
oh
Defense is
yeah. I
looking
mean,
stout.
like
PS2 still there.
I will say, I mean, they have a different look at, you know, the draft this year. This is the best you know, this is I guess you could say best but worst like draft pick that they've had in quite some time. I mean, they've always been at that, you know, in the between 10 to 17, you know, in between there for picks and ever since they've gotten Sean Payton and Bo Nix has just played out of this world for a rookie. I mean, they got the 20th pick. They haven't had that in I think 4 years now. So they got a whole nother view of they got to take another look at and view of what they can possibly get at that draft pick.
Yeah. So like Caleb, let me ask you this though. If Jaden Daniels and the Commanders get bounced out wild card round, does Bo Nix win Rookie of the Year?
No,
Still no. Do you think Jaden Daniels
I
played
don't.
just out of his mind?
I think Bo Nix played pretty good towards the end of the season. And the the media attention around Jane Daniels was pretty intense, and I just
I mean,
think
you've seen what that guy does in VR, right? Like
I
in
mean,
V no, I have not seen him does in
you've
VR,
not seen
but
that. So he
no.
was when he was at LSU. Let me tell you this great story. When he was at LSU, after he transferred there, because he was at where was that Arizona
uh,
State or was that somebody else?
Arizona State.
Yeah.
Yeah, he transferred to LSU. Excuse me, and he was the first actual quarterback to do this. This company made a football simulation, and they put him in it with the VR headset and the whole get up. And they ran the playbook, like they had their playbook in there, and they ran the teams that they were playing. Their defenses were coded in there, and he ran the games at 200% speed, so double the speed
Oh, actually, I've heard
of
about
a
that
college
story.
game
Yeah.
or an NFL game, right? So yeah, so he's sitting there, making quicker reads and getting the ball out faster and like knowing what to do faster because everything's coming at him a lot quicker than real life. That's
Mm-hmm.
why when he does step into a game on the field, without the headset on, of course, everything's kind of slowed down for him, and he's able to make the reads easier. And since he's already so used to everything coming at him, twice the speed,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
he's kind of like
No,
it's weird.
no, we'll say about Bo Nix. Middle of the season or earlier in the season, he ended up hurting his back. That's why I don't know if you guys happen to watch or if you got any Broncos fans planning on intending to listen to this at all, but that's why he stopped taking the hits and was really smart with how he was getting rid of the ball and rushing at times. He ended up hurting his back, so he kind of had to take that step back for a little bit um, throughout the season. So that's why Jaden Daniels kind of took that lead like Stroud did last year for rookie QBs.
Yeah, maybe maybe Jane Daniels and or Bo Nix though. Maybe they have that sophomore slump.
Well,
Like
hopefully CJ Stroud is still alive next year.
that's true. They
Yeah,
just kind of shopped away their entire O line.
They got rid of Tunsil, and then today they also shopped another one.
Kenyon
Oh
Green,
my god.
right
So I
guard.
don't know what CJ Stroud's gonna do. And considering CJ Stroud was already the second most sacked quarterback behind Joe Burrow. I mean,
I thought it was Caleb Williams.
or I saw a stat earlier. I don't know if it was hit or sacked, but he's pretty towards the bottom of the list. So,
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
But the Texans, they're not sitting back and just doing nothing. I mean, they got Laken Tomlinson on a 1-year deal. Granted, he's like what, 33, 32?
I just don't
34.
understand the concept of trading away your best offensive lineman and then doing really nothing with it.
Yeah,
That's true.
I don't understand exactly what they're doing either. Where do they pick at again? Or do they not have a first round
Uh,
pick?
I believe they have their first round pick.
It'll be past 20 probably because they missed or they made playoffs. So
They
I
pick
want to
at
say it's
25.
20.
yeah,
So,
Ooh.
I mean, you take a look at the guys that are all there. You might be
This.
able to, obviously you'll pick up somebody, right? They'll get someone, but
Oh yeah.
like who is is the only question, right? Like,
Like obviously Will Campbell, he's going, arguably probably top 5 in the draft this year. So I
yeah,
mean, there's
you might be able to see
this.
guys like Josh Connerly or maybe even like Graves Abel. You might be able to see them fall down, but one rookie isn't going to change what you've just done to your offensive line.
That's true. I mean, look what the Bears doing with and Ben Johnson. I mean, Caleb Williams was sacked 68 times last
He
year,
was so much. He was tossed
and
around.
well, yeah, and then they just completely revamped that offensive line.
oh yeah, they went and picked up Joe Tooney this year, and just signed Drew Dahlman to a
Mm-hmm.
massive contract from the Falcons, and
Yep.
then
Yeah.
picked up Jonah Jackson from the Rams, which was formerly with Ben Johnson in Detroit a couple of years ago. So the big problem for Chicago was that interior offensive line, and they just went out and got everything that they needed right there. So I feel like Caleb, I mean, he had a very down. He didn't really have a very down year. You can't really say that because he was a rookie, but you never year that
I
he
mean,
was
it's the
projected to
Bears.
have for being the first overall pick. But I mean, I could see him coming out here and possibly throwing for
I mean, he's definitely
4,200 yards
overrated
next
on
year
for sure.
because
I
the
think,
Bears they
yeah,
do have DJ Moore still. They have Cole
you have
Kmet out there at tight end.
Rome
So,
Odunze.
yep. I mean, honestly, I think the only position that they're really missing is a wide receiver 3 because Keenan Allen is a free agent this year. After he was traded to the Bears last year from the Chargers, so I think that they take a nice little slot receiver, possibly because Braxton Berrios he just signed with the Texans
Yeah, so going back on the Texans,
recently.
like if you're the Texans right now, are you expecting Tank Dell to not be able to return?
No, that is a good question. I mean,
Because you
I
just signed 3 free agent wide receivers, Braxton Berrios, Christian Kirk, and Justin Watson is going to be signing a deal with them.
So they're definitely not bringing back Stephon Diggs, then, are they?
yep.
I
I
believe that
I
was, yeah, I believe that was already talked about.
I assume that they're not bringing him back because of that. I know Amari Cooper's still a free agent out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bills,
yeah.
yeah.
haven't really heard anything back yet if there's any negotiations with that. But I mean, I could see Amari Cooper possibly going to the Bears or even Stephon Diggs. Or honestly, I could see Seattle picking up either one of them now with DK out and they just released Tyler Lockett as well. I mean, you can't really expect a whole lot coming out of JSN going to his junior year. So
I don't even know what the Seahawks are doing right now. Like waking
I
up
feel
to
like
that day with I woke up and Tyler Lock is being released. Oh, DK Metcalf wants to trade. A couple days later, Geno Smith's been traded. Oh, DK Metcalf's been traded. It was just kind of blow after blow after blow. Pause. And then what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I would like to get Cooper Cup though. Honestly, I would love to see him come on over. Maybe Cooper, maybe Keenan, maybe
you know, but will
Mari
Cooper?
Cooper. Get a couple veteran guys in there and kind of
Mhm.
groom JSN a little bit more.
I like them picking up a veteran receiver like that. To kind of mentor Jason and Jake Bobo. You guys took this past year in the draft. Very late draft pick, by the way, on that.
He
But
is. He ran a 4.9 something, I think.
so
He
I
ain't
could
quick.
see
So,
them
yeah.
bringing
Yeah,
in a big vet receiver.
but don't hate on
You know,
Bobo.
I mean,
in instance, Cooper Cup or any of the other two. I mean,
I could
Keaton
see them
honestly wouldn't
bringing
be big.
in a receiver not just for the reason of mentoring, but I mean they kind of need it. I like. I feel like
Well, yes,
if they thought JSN needed more mentoring or something, they wouldn't have gotten rid of DK and Lockett
Tyler.
leaving.
well, DK requested the trade.
That is
Tyler
true.
Hey,
Lockett,
yeah.
we got rid of for cap space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we do get a veteran guy, it's going to be somebody that doesn't take up a lot of room and kind of like really wants to be there. You know what I mean? So, um, Cooper Cup, maybe that's his scenario. I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
like Stephon Diggs might want a little bit too much money. If he were to come over to Seattle, but
I also
Cooper
think
Cup
that,
obviously he stays in the West. He grew up actually. I think his high school was or something was in Washington. He has family in the Tacoma area, so pretty close to
you know,
Seattle.
if it's me in Seattle shoes, like I'd go after Cooper Cup. I don't want Stephon Diggs. You can ask anyone on Twitter. You can ask really almost any NFL fan. I mean, all they say about Stephon Diggs is that he's a big crybaby when he doesn't get the ball. I mean, you've seen it in Buffalo. He threw temper tantrums like Odell did back in 2018 with the kicking net. Like
That was funny.
I
There's pretty good clips
I
of
would
that.
want Cooper Cup more than Stephon Diggs. I mean, even if you look at TikTok too, for instance, with
Do
the
you
Vikings
remember that
locker
old
room.
video? Yeah, I was gonna just about to mention that. You remember that old video? None of them would let Stephon date their daughter.
I
That
wouldn't either.
is
But I mean, I'm gonna go away a little bit from the receivers. Right here, the Browns re-signing Miles Garrett to an astonishing huge contract worth with 123 million guaranteed, 40 million a year. After he said that he wanted a trade and said that he didn't want to play if he couldn't get a trade through, and then
Yeah, and then
2 days later, he resigns with them. Like,
yeah, and
what's going through your head?
he posted this big note on Instagram saying that the goal was never to stay in Cleveland and it was to win a championship, and then oh,
that was
never
yeah.
mind. I'm just gonna resign with the team I'm trying to leave. So I mean, I guess money talks, but
That's kind of the thing. Like at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's a business. If you get
Yeah,
offered the most money, you're gonna probably go there,
you
unless it's
know,
an absolutely horrible situation. Which I guess maybe they, maybe he had some sway of who the Browns might potentially draft. Because Caleb, didn't you say something earlier before we started all this that, or was it Braden that
it was me.
him they want to take a quarterback?
Yep, it was Miles Garrett, Jerry Judy, and the big stars on that team. They openly said, I know, out there that they want a QB. They want a QB taken at pick number 2. And if they can't, I mean, they honestly, I wouldn't doubt if they retaliate. To be honest, I mean,
who do you have
It
him
feels like
yeah,
taking
one of those.
there? I mean, I have them taking Cam Ward. I think.
right there. So in my mock draft that I've cooked up, I actually have uh Abdul Carter going to Tennessee and Cam Ward going to Ohio right there. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like that could possibly pan out. But I mean, if we're gonna look at the draft,
I feel
off
like it
of
really
what I
depends on what Tennessee does because there's a rumor of potentially Russell Wilson going there, but
hmm
also the Steelers and Giants, I believe, are trying to pick between A-Rod and Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
kind of if Tennessee lands one of them somehow, if they're in the mix, then maybe you still draft that, quarterback, maybe less of a chance that you do. But if you don't draft or if you don't take one of those QBs, you definitely take best possible QB right there, which I honestly think it would be Cam Ward.
Yeah. I agree. Now I'm gonna again go somewhere else on this, but back to the Seahawks right here. Re-signing Ernest Jones, the fourth linebacker that was previously on the Rams, to a 3-year contract extension worth up to 33 million. I thought that was a very good re-signing for Seattle right there, especially with Bobby Wagner being shipped out last year, and Jordan Brooks was recently traded to Miami. So I feel like that was a very good pickup and re-signing of Ernest Jones
Mhm.
right
I
there.
miss Jordan Brooks. I do. I wish he never left, but front office is going to do front office things. John Schneider, to me, has been kind of crapping in the bed, uh, just because we let go of all those guys. Like him and Mike McDonald, for some reason, decided, yep, we're undergoing a rebuild, which
Yeah.
I personally think we weren't really in the spot to need one. We just needed a couple pieces, and boom, we're instant playoff contenders.
It could
You
be
know,
a
you,
And it's
coach thing, though. Trying to build his team instead of just taking over Pete
he
Carroll's
wants it
team.
his way. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's kind of what I think it is. He's kind of swinging in there in between his legs and taking over the place. So, I mean, I don't really blame him. I'd probably do the same thing.
yeah. Um, Now, we're talking about, possibility of Seahawks doing a rebuild. But we go back to last year. After what all the Bills did and all the releasing and cuts that they made last year at the, right before free agency, and they still made playoffs. Quote
They
unquote,
made that.
possibly
They
going
made
through
it
a
work.
rebuild. And they just extended and gave Josh Allen a massive deal, 6 years, 330 million with 250 million guaranteed. Like that man deserves it. After an MVP season this past year and arguably an MVP season the year before that too. So, congrats to the man Josh Allen right there. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
think the big look at right now is right there actually in Pittsburgh is obviously, they're joking, people joke and stuff, but DK, obviously getting traded to Pittsburgh on that, and he wanted to go to a championship team as well, and just happened to be traded to a run first team, in Pittsburgh. I mean, between him and George Pickens, I mean, they're both menaces to society out there in the field, and if you look at DK over the last few years, you look at George Pickens last year, I mean, they will fight a corner. So who knows what the big thing is in there? I
yeah.
mean, especially with them being a run first team right there. Are they
are
gonna?
they keeping Tyler Warren though? Like, is that going to be their RB1? Like,
I'm assuming so. With them shopping out Najee, then that being the
They could
cause.
also be
or
looking to pick up
maybe,
running back
yeah,
as
maybe they're
well.
looking at the draft because one
Yeah,
thing about the Steelers, they like their hard nosed, tough running backs. So I guess
That's
Nick
true.
Chubb is one of them. But if you just traded away Najee, I guess released. If you just release Najee, he's a little bit younger, less injuries than Nick Chubb. So I don't think they take Nick Chubb. Probably go for the complete younger power back, which there's a couple of them in the draft, but I really like Caleb Johnson.
that's Iowa
Uh,
bias right there.
That
I can't
was.
really
I am
say
very biased.
anything right there.
I mean, I
Hey,
agree
I've
with you
seen
though.
early mock drafts though where he goes in the first round, so I don't think it's out of the question.
Yeah, I've seen it where he's been hovering around first, second.
you know, um, I'm gonna bring up this. I mean, you know, I think a team that is two teams that are absolutely striking gold right now in free agency. The first one is the Patriots. They spent a lot of money and brought in a lot of good people, and the next one is the Carolina Panthers. I mean, a couple years ago, they had the first overall pick. They traded away, DJ Moore to the Bears, and their first round pick right there for the first overall. So, with them coming out here and spending 100 million on J.C. Horn, and then picked up some nice little studs out there on the team too. I think that give them a couple of years and they'll be good Super Bowl or playoff contenders. To be honest, I mean, don't get me wrong. Last year, Bryce Young's mental was kind of washed due to the fans themselves a little bit and the
Even at
office
the
there.
beginning, yeah, beginning of the season, it was just
No, I mean,
But I
yeah,
mean,
they
he
benched him.
really
He came
stepped up.
back and he stepped up. Yeah,
I mean,
It-
I don't want to say anything,
it took watching a 34 Red Rifle play lights
That's,
out to get him
yeah.
to
that's true.
realize what he was doing wrong.
I mean, it probably also helps that, Bryce Young is now single. He's been single since he came back after the benchment.
Is that
Is
so?
that it? Is that because he's single?
Hey,
He
You
has
see,
the woman
guys, you
off his
get rid of the
mind.
women in your life,
you,
and
you don't know. I
everything gets
mean,
better.
it could be a little bit of both right there. Yes, Jalen Warren. Yes, I am reading right here. Steelers running back Jalen Warren receives a $5.3 million second round RFA tender as of right now, and
Did I
that
say
was
Tyler Warren?
Jalen Warren. My bad. I
Yeah,
I
might have
said
said
Tyler
Tyler.
Warren
you
earlier.
did say Tyler Warren. Yeah, that's
Whoops. I don't know.
Penn
Who is
State.
Tyler Warren?
Penn State tight
Tyler
end.
Warren. Yep.
I just got the mock draft in my head.
Yeah.
But I mean,
He's going to the Colts.
it's interesting on do Steelers will have a QB or a running back next year? I mean, arguably even did they sign our QB this year?
Having DK and Pickens is just, I don't even know. First day of training camp, they're going to have to duke it out over 14, the number 14.
Oh, speaking of a number change, Puka Nakua has gone back to his BYU days and
Oh,
is
no.
going to number 12. He's
He's a
given
Mormon?
Devontae Adams the number 17. I believe he went to
Interesting.
BYU as well.
He's a Mormon.
So he just he posted a tweet out earlier today saying that he's going back to number 12. So new look out there in LA as well with Puka
Why do
Nakua
I
changing
why do
numbers.
I slightly remember, like, I don't know if this is just in my head canon or what, but why do I remember Devontae Adams like hinting a couple years ago before he even left Green Bay maybe that he wanted to go to the Rams? Or am I
Yeah.
tripping?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
you're not
Puka Nakua
tripping.
went to BYU.
What?
I was just saying I couldn't remember if Puka Nakua went to BYU or not. He did. He went to Young University. I believe that's BYU.
Yeah, BYU. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Um,
Having okay,
and
that's gonna be like they're honestly a real threat. A lot of teams are looking good. Like
they are.
I don't necessarily think any team's looking bad because even though of course the Texans got rid of their entire O line, like the people that they did sign, those three wide receivers I mentioned earlier, like at Tomlinson, they got Daryl Taylor, Mario Edwards, Sheldon Rankins, and CJ Gardner Johnson from the trade with the Eagles, which they fleeced by the way. The Eagles got crap for that.
Y'all did. They did fleece us, but it's fine. I mean, we got Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown. Chase Brown's cousin or brother, whatever it is. I can't ever remember on this, but I mean, I feel like we'll be pretty locked down.
Oh,
Going to the new year.
this funny thing about CJ Gardner Johnson that I wanted to say earlier. I saw it on Instagram. I think pretty sure Madden, like the Instagram account Madden, the
Mm-hmm.
official whatever. Pretty sure they posted it and it was CJ Gardner Johnson was on a live stream and he traded himself to the Texans and it was just really funny for me. I don't know. Like
Oh,
imagine being able to imagine yourself, you're the player, but you're in this video game and you just trade yourself because you just got traded in real life. Which the trade
that's lit.
instantly went through, by the way, because he's the guard that they trade for is a 68 overall, Kenyon Green in Madden.
Something like that. Yeah.
So the trade instantly went through. He probably could have got like a second round pick with it too, knowing Madden logic, but because we play too much of
Mm-hmm.
that.
That's occasionally play a little bit too much of that,
Yeah,
but
occasionally you cheeser.
but yeah, no, there's one big takeaway I've taken so far via free agency is a lot of the teams that honestly did quite bad last year have honestly just went up big time. Like the Panthers, the Raiders, the I don't know, Cardinals, Patriots
Broncos. I
even.
mean, they weren't bad, but Broncos are doing crazy
And
things too.
then, the teams that honestly kind of took a decrease, you got, for instance, the Niners almost releasing half of their team. Like, obviously that's
And
an expression,
They're
but
building around
and you know
Purdy.
what? Well, are they though? Like, are they questioning
I
I
think
like
I
his
think
think
ability?
I think
they
they're doing
are.
it because they want to build around him. I mean, it's kind of hard to
They
explain,
had the
but
weapons though.
it's
Like
going to be cheaper in the long run because I don't think has Purdy signed a massive extension yet.
Purdy hasn't signed a massive
oh,
extension yet, but he is projected to possibly sign a $255 million
See,
contract worth up to
then
five
I
years.
get the shopping of everybody that they don't feel is important.
Speaking of QB,
no.
Justin Fields going to the Jets on a 2-year deal worth up to $40 million. Honestly, I like this signing. He's getting paired back up with this college teammate and Garrett Wilson right there. So I
Crazy.
feel like, another team, Seattle, I feel like they should have taken him. I mean, me and Jesse were
Mm,
talking the other night. Like,
I wish.
we thought that, Justin Fields would be a good fit in Seattle, but they went ahead and bit the bullet on Sam Darnold on
A
a big contract over
3-year,
there.
$100 million deal. 55 million guaranteed, by the way. 37
Like,
and a half is guaranteed in the first year. I don't like it. I wish Sam Darnold never even sniffed around Seattle, to be honest with you. He
fair
had one
enough.
good year in Minnesota. That will not be recreated ever
And then
again,
he pooped in
regardless
the
if we even had the
playoffs.
weapons
Yeah.
for him. Yeah, regardless if we even had the weapons. I
You
just
know,
don't think
I
he's
agree.
starting material. That's just my philosophy on it.
We're
I would have much rather have taken uh, Justin Fields and or maybe even take back Russ for a year or two and draft a quarterback. Like I would have taken Aaron Rodgers. The fit would have been awful. He doesn't fit in Seattle's scheme whatsoever. But I would have taken him over Sam Darnold.
fair enough. But I'm gonna kind of move back to off of Sam Darnold right there. Him leaving the Vikings, didn't want to resign because the Vikings front office said that JJ McCarthy's their QB for the future. The
Did
Vikings,
they say that?
I believe so. They did. They said that they
Really?
plan on keeping JJ McCarthy because they were thinking about possibly shipping him out and keeping Sam Darnold, but they decided to keep the
Probably go
younger
after
guy
the
in,
younger cheaper deal. Yeah.
younger and cheaper deal. So, but Vikings, they let go. They didn't quite let go, but Cam Bynum agreed to
Big
sign
deal.
with the Colts for 4 year.
Big one.
Josh Metellus and Cam Bynum, they were the NSYNC last year, the dancing and everything, had the celebrations down like they were nothing, and this got split up. I mean, you look back at the NFL Honor Show, they were dancing on stage. When was the last time you seen a dance break on an award show? Besides maybe Antonio Brown's, CTE, ESPN, award show over there, but
Yeah, I
That
was
was
I
watching that
mean,
one.
that's a big separation right there with Minnesota, but they did re-sign Byron Murphy Jr. and they brought in Isaiah Rogers Jr. as well. Two big signings right there for corner. Real question was them is, will Harrison Smith retire? What do you guys think on that?
well. I'm
I
gonna
think this is
piggyback
gonna be
off
his
of.
last year, but
You think he'll play one more year?
yeah.
I think he he already said like he already took the pay cut. Um, so his deal's up right as of right now, right?
Oh, I
Yes,
mean,
he
I'm
is
not really
classified
sure.
I think
as a free agent
I
as of
think
right
he
this moment.
wants to stay in Minnesota. So, albeit if it means taking another pay cut, I think he'll do it for at least one more season. Yeah, because maybe he just wants to see what JJ McCarthy can do and what his defense can do. Because I think he can still play at the same level that he just played at this year, which isn't obviously his prime anymore, but he's definitely a reliable safety, I would say.
That is, I 100% agree with you there, Jesse. For sure.
I'm also going to piggyback off of what you said a little bit ago about all the dancing. Do
Mm-hmm.
you guys remember the one year that the first year that they allowed like real touchdown celebrations back without a flag?
How
They
long
actually
ago was
did
that?
a it was a while ago by now. Geez, I feel like
2000s,
maybe
I believe, early 2000s.
2018. No, I feel like 2018,
Hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say
2019
it's
maybe.
not too long.
No, but because they made it a thing in the next Madden that I remember it. I was like, oh, there's celebrations now. Like that's cool. Like you flick the stick in whichever direction and your guy spikes the ball. I want to say that was like Madden 19 is when they first started doing that again.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually had an award because of the dancing at the award ceremony. That's where I'm getting this from. They had an award for the best touchdown celebration for that season. I think they only did it for that season alone. And I don't know why
Hmm.
they didn't like doing it because I kind of
I
like it.
remember this. Yeah.
It was a fun thing, and Seattle actually won it with Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett.
I do remember
That was
that.
really cool. There was this whole segment too that I watched. The entire wide receiver room in Seattle, they would spend like an hour a day after practice with this choreographer practicing dance moves. It
Hmm.
was actually there's a snippet on it. You can probably find it on YouTube. It was
Netflix
really
yet
just kind
or
of funny though
never
to
won
see that,
another
and
Super Bowl.
probably because we're sitting there choreographing
Choreographing
touchdown to
dance
celebrate.
moves in practice. Yeah.
You know,
Like
that's fair. I'm gonna kind
it
of
was
stay in that division and Vikings division. With the Packers signing Aaron Banks. Um, on here via Ian Report, it says it gets they signed Aaron Banks to get Jordan Love another bodyguard right here. Caleb, what do you
massive deal.
think
Yeah,
about Aaron Banks and
I
that
think
signing?
it's a little bit of an overpay. Um,
He doesn't have very good PFF grades, but PFF you can't. I mean, that's PFF. He's only given up one sack in 2 years, so I mean, on paper it doesn't look bad. A lot of teams think highly of him. It's just I don't know if the I guess the deal isn't. I don't like the money that we gave him.
Yeah,
mhm.
But
it was a
I'm
4 year, $77 million deal.
I'll never have an issue with bolstering up an offensive line. That'll never be a problem for me.
You're probably excited about the Isaiah McDuffie re-signing then too.
I'm not. It's not really a big thing for me. I think he's good linebacker depth. He's not really good in coverage, but he is a good run stopper. Definitely not a
No,
I
guy
just
who
feel
you
like
want on the field for 3 downs, but
him and that rookie you guys just had.
uh,
Edgerrin
yeah,
Cooper, yeah, he's gonna be
Yeah, it's a pretty good combo.
he's gonna be good.
I
And
think the good combo in Green Bay will be is having the physical playmaking Jair Alexander possibly and the speedy man-to-man coverage Nate Hobbs on opposite sides of the field right there in coverage.
another 4-year deal too. So Packers signing for the longevity.
Well, with Packers deals, it's always the way they're structured is 1 year and we'll see. They always do about
They
a
gave Hobbs
year.
16 million guaranteed.
Yeah, they always do a year or two in guaranteed money, and then it's a fall off. So, um, both those deals that we gave out yesterday are kind of, we'll see for a year, maybe next year, and then
Is
and
it
then we'll
that way in
decide.
case they try to do if they do try to like if they decide they want to move them that it doesn't cost them a crap ton of money at the end?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know, on with another signing here. And I'm gonna go with a release before the signing. The Titans earlier this were actually recently they just released Harold Landry. He has signed with the Patriots as of yesterday, but they picked up Cody Barton from the Broncos on a 3 year deal worth up to 21 million. I'm not the world's biggest Cody Barton fan in the world. I just very much dislike him, to be honest. I, he had an okay year in Denver. I think that Singleton and Joy Grandma will be their future right there for 3 to 4 more years. And you got Benito and the other edge. I can't think of his name right this moment, but they're building a nice little linebacking core over there, up there in Denver.
In Denver? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, Greenlaw is pretty good. I like that signing. I mean,
I do like that
who
signing
knows
as
if he's
well.
gonna be he played this last season, but who knows if he's still like 100% after that injury in the
I don't
Super
think
Bowl
he
versus the Chiefs.
was
he
100%. He
wasn't.
definitely didn't have as good of a year as he did the year before.
I don't think so
49ers,
either,
though,
but he
just in general, weren't, as good as they were. So
I
they were
mean,
one of the teams that were injury riddled. I feel like still even this year, like
that is true.
along with the
Yeah.
mhm,
the Lions had a lot of injuries, so who
yeah,
knows exactly
because
what would have happened. But I think teams started to figure out what the 49ers were doing and being able to stop it.
yeah, because with the Niners, they Dre Greenlaw ended up tearing his Achilles in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs last year, and he sat out, and they brought in God, I can't think of it. Oh, Tavondre Campbell. And for depth room for Dre Greenlaw and John Lynch and that organization just rushed Dre Greenlaw back too fast from injury. Didn't let his Achilles really 100% heal, so he wasn't 100% and played. I think it was like 7 games this past year. Um, I think he came way too. I think he came back too fast from his Achilles injury. To be honest, so with that being the cause and kind of sitting out, now that he has all the way up until I think it's June to kind of rest and kind of see how stuff goes because they did not make playoffs either with that, with him being so riddled. So I think that he'll be good when he gets to Denver. I don't think he'll miss a little bit of a step from the previous year, but I think he will be that big number one middle linebacker over there in that division besides Nick Bolton.
Yeah. Which we haven't even talked about the Chiefs yet. Like
Mm-mm.
they, I mean, they're the Chiefs. So are they going to make the Super Bowl? Probably. We all seen the dark magic. We all know what's going on there. It's evident. But
I mean,
you know,
we're at 56 minutes at the moment.
Okay.
that's fine. Yeah. But
You know,
you you take Elijah Mitchell, you get him. You got Marquise Brown back,
you got
Jalen Moore, Trey
yep,
Smith.
yep.
Like you got the good old college, guy Matt Araiza.
No, Patty Mahomes still there too. Travis did say he was coming back for another year as well. Underneath that,
Really?
he said he was going to come back. Actually, he said that after the Super
No.
Bowl that he said that he was coming back for at least another year. Now the real question is Rasheed Rice going to be okay after tearing his ACL via Mahomes when they faced the Colts earlier this year? Is he going to be able to come back and be that big time playmaker that he was his rookie year?
I think the actual real question here
Is Xavier
is Taylor
Worthy
Swift
gonna play football?
Kelsey. Oh. That's not where I was going with this. I was talking about is T Swift gonna stay with Kelsey, but is Xavier
I
Worthy? I don't know. That's a loaded question.
That is the question.
I think with Xavier Worthy controversy going on with them is obviously he's not getting fined for anything. He's not getting locked up at all either. There's a whole story on that. You can go to Instagram, Twitter, wherever you guys go to for social media. But it was a big hoax in a way. He told his girlfriend that he was going to have her leave for 2 weeks, and she made a big deal, cut his hair off, destroyed property inside the house, and then called the cops and tried telling him that it was domestic violence. And the cops, they looked into an investigation, and they said it's not
I did
Worthy's
not know this.
responsibility on that. So Worthy is not getting charged with anything on
Hmm.
that. If anybody's getting charged, it is his girlfriend for the possibility of destruction of property with that. So
So there
um,
continues the Chiefs dark magic.
Chiefs double magic, yeah.
It's still going on. Also, speaking of uh I guess the cops being involved, you guys see the Le'Veon Bell lawsuit?
no, I've not.
There's a
What's up with that?
Le'Veon Bell's cousin sued Le'Veon for allegedly sexually assaulting her.
See, I don't know if I can believe that. Just I obviously I don't know Le'Veon Bell and
Let's
anything
not
like
get
that,
into anything political here.
but I think
I
that
just I
after
chose my
the
words carefully for once.
riddlement that Le'Veon Bell has endorsed via NFL, him being a running back, and with boxing too, with a couple fights that he had in boxing. I mean, you might have the same thing that Antonio Brown has. You might not remember some of his career, like Antonio Brown has openly said. You might have that CTE like
There might
Tua.
be a Steelers thing.
It could
But
be
cuz I mean, come on. He beat a 50-year-old Frank Gore.
something like
Like
that. I mean, yeah,
like Frank Gore is not. He's also like 5'8" or something. Like Frank
he's
Gore is tiny.
5'7". something like that.
He's
Yeah.
sure he's built. I mean, I don't know about still, but he's old now. And even a couple
Mm-hmm.
years ago when they fought, like I wouldn't be parading around with that under my belt, you know?
Oh no,
Like Frank Gore was
I
in the
wouldn't.
league before you were even in high school, dude. Like
Oh yeah. You know, um, Frank Gore. I don't know if anybody knows what teams he's on, but he was well known for being on the Niners. So I'm gonna go back to the Niners right here. They lost Charvarius Ward. He signed with the Colts on a 3-year deal, $60 million. That's a big ticket corner for the Colts. I mean, they're really beefing up that defense. So far this free agency, so that's a good signing for them. I wouldn't arguably say, but I mean, love that signing by him. Um, there's a trade between Philly and the Browns. And we traded Kenny Pickett, Super Bowl QB or Super Bowl winning QB, right there.
you could call it
Traded
that.
them,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
traded him to the Browns for Dorian Thompson Robinson and a 5th-round pick.
I
Now the
like
Browns
DTR
can
better than Kenny
say,
Pickett.
Browns can now say that they do have a Super Bowl winning QB in their locker room for once in their entire franchise history. So
Well, they got him.
I
Well,
like the
they
pick.
had Joe Flacco.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's true.
and they got
That
a.
is
Well, I
true.
mean, he's not a Super Bowl winner, but he's a
Oops,
massage guy. He likes massages.
did not mean to open that title shop.
Actually, they did have Jacoby Brissett at one point too, and he did
Technically,
win a
a
couple
Super
of
Bowl
rings.
winner.
Oh
Yeah.
God, what happened?
um, the Panthers picked up another defensive player. They picked up uh two big defensive linemen. They picked interior defensive lineman Bobby Brown the third from the Rams on a contract, and yesterday they also picked up the Chiefs' former defensive lineman Tershawn Wharton on a 3-year deal. I think that they're really trying to beef up that
Jeez, what is
defensive
going
line to help
on?
out Derek Brown now that they shipped out Brian Burns last year. So I don't blame them for picking up these big defensive players at all. I know what I'm about to say next. Caleb's gonna be a bit happy about via them losing to us in the playoffs. Orion Burks is on the Cincinnati Bengals now.
Hmm.
Just
Bengals.
now, the Joey Bosa has signed with the Bills on a
Whoa.
1-year, $12.6 million deal.
I do not mind that deal
Joey
since they did
Bosa with the Bills.
release Von Miller recently too. Like that signing by him.
Yeah,
I did too.
it's
You know,
not a
you
bad one.
replaced Von Miller. And actually, I do like that. That is awesome.
I for sure thought he was gonna end up on the Niners, but I guess not.
I thought so too. They were talking. There was rumors that
Yeah,
they met with Bosa to
That's
get the
true.
Bosa brothers going. That would have been a sight to see. It probably would have fed families, honestly. Even though
Possibly.
kind of I hate the 49ers, but really would have fed families.
Speaking on the Bills, they did play this free agency. I would say pretty smart. They re-signed Greg Rousseau and Khalil Shakur to big deals before the market hit, and everything. They did also quote unquote release Matt Collins. He went to the Patriots to a 2-year deal. So good thing that they have Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakur in that receiving core now. So I feel like they played it really smart now with Joey Bosa going over there too. So I'm liking it.
So yeah, I mean, as we kind of wrap things up here, um, we'll kind of go into the outlooks here in a second. But one thing's evident so far is that probably the Bills are still going to be the Bills. The Chiefs, they're more than likely going to be the Chiefs. So, if we have to watch another AFC championship with those two teams, that's going to be something. But there's a lot of different teams that are definitely doing great so far. And it's just going to come down to what we're seeing in the draft. But going to the outlooks, um, we're not going to go through every single little team here. Let's just start with you, Caleb, on what you want to see from the Packers coming up in the draft and how you envision next season going.
Man, I'd like to see Green Bay bolster up on edge rushers and man, there's a lot of things that I actually would like them to do. Um, in my own mock draft, I have him taking Emeka Buka from Ohio State just
You do
because
need a true wide receiver one.
he is the receiver that fits what Green Bay wants to do the most. He can take those jet sweeps. He's really good in the run game, helping stock block on the outside. But I wouldn't be surprised if we don't take him just because we're Green Bay. So I would really just like for them to work on the corner room, the edge rusher room, and maybe the receiver room. Um, if they can't, are you asking? Do you want me to, um,
How do you think they'll do this upcoming year?
this upcoming year? Yeah.
Yeah.
If we can't figure out the problems with the offense that started to kind of happen at the end of the year, which kind of made us drop a couple of games we shouldn't have dropped, then I don't really see them being competitive in our division just because our division is very competitive and the Bears have just gone in free agency and picked up a bunch of people, and same thing with the Vikings. They completely revamped their defensive line. Um, and the Lions are going to be the Lions. I mean, they have really good skill guys. So if we don't fix our offensive problems, then I could see us honestly not. I could see us finishing bottom of the division, which is not like a happy outlook. It's kind of pessimistic, but I guess I'm trying to be realistic here.
Yeah. Braden, Eagles pick at 32, coming off Super Bowl. Yeah. Wow, excuse me. Coming off a Super Bowl win.
So,
What do
you know,
you see them doing this next year?
no, I'll go off a draft. I think that with us having a 32nd overall pick, we don't really have much to do on the offense perspective, and really not really much on the defense. I think if anything, we take a corner at pick 32, whatever best available. I would like the boy from Iowa State, to come on over and play with us in Philly. But I mean, I think our real big problem is corner at the moment. We need a cornerback 3. Can't have Keely Ring out there, but that's what I would like for us to get in the draft. And to the other question you asked, how do I think we're going to do this year? Is I think we'll do pretty good. We'll probably finish 1 or 2 in the division. Really depends on if the Cowboys can come to an agreement deal with Micah Parsons and with how the Commanders have been doing. How they finished last year and what they've done for agency so far. I feel like it's going to be a real good battle between us and Washington for the number 1 position in the division. I feel like we'll make another little deep playoff run again this year. So that's what I think that we're going to do. How do you think Seattle's going to do this year, and what do you expect for them to take in the draft, Jesse?
It's tank time, if I'm being honest. Mike McDonald, John Schneider, they want to go for a rebuild. So I want us to buy in completely to the rebuild. I want us to tank next season. If we don't draft a QB in this draft, which they're really not all that great prospects
Yeah,
outside
it's
of maybe the top 2,
not the greatest quarterback draft.
I'm saying we tank, which should be easy with Sam Darnold under the center. So I'm hoping we tank and that we just try to. I don't know. We kind of really need an entire offense as of right now. So as long as we can retain the guys on defense while upgrading our offense, seems impossible as of right now. But hey, I don't know. Maybe we'll figure it out. But that's all we're gonna have time for in the broken tackle today. Again, thanks for Caleb and Braden here. This has been a long time in the works. I say a long time. Me and Caleb had the thought like 2 years ago. We decided to bring Braden's big brain into this, and
Yep.
We
it
just
actually
needed
ended up working out
a
pretty good.
third ball knower.
That's true. A
Yes,
ball knower.
sir.
If you're not
Yeah,
a ball knower, then you're not a shower. I don't even know what that means,
that
but
doesn't
we're
mean
using it as a
okay.
quote
We're
now.
gonna go with it. You
It's
know.
put it on a t-shirt, put broken tackle above it. Somebody do it. All right.
All right, let's
Thank you
make
guys for
merch.
watching. Yeah, merch. everybody. We don't have any. Not yet.
Yeah.
You gotta watch the show to get that. But again, coming up in the next couple of weeks here, this week, as of Friday the what would it be
It'll
14th.
be Friday the 14th.
So I'm missing the 13th there, but Friday the 14th, we're gonna come out with a mock draft for each one of us. That'll be the first mock draft 1.0, and then the day before the draft, on draft day, we will be coming out with our second mock draft before actually getting in for a live stream during the draft and showing all of you guys that. Again, with the schedule, as of right now, we're planning on Tuesdays right around 7 o'clock. You can tune in then. We're going to be on Spotify. We're over here on YouTube. Again, we've got our Twitter, Instagram, and I believe TikTok. So check. Just go ahead and subscribe to those, and we'll be pumping out some videos here for you guys soon. Thanks again.
For sure.